All right. What is happening? Welcome to week two of the Other D1 podcast, covering all things FCS and specifically the Southland Conference. My name is Jordan Selfa. As always, joining me is Kyle Fishbeck. Kyle, how we doing, man? How was your weekend?
Fantastic. Good to be back. Just sitting there Saturday, taking it all in, tracking seven different games at once, screaming about my bets. So,
Yeah, the picks were they were tough.
week one jitters, just like every other team. We'll get the kinks worked out. We'll get the stamps dialed in.
What what stood out for you, like outside of FCS? What stood out for you? Around college football.
I think everybody's gonna be talking about it. It's Cam Ward for the
Oh
Miami
God.
Hurricanes. Yeah, former UIW product, transferred to Washington State, and then now he's at Miami. But he put on a clinic against Florida, man. I mean,
The
arm
funniest
strength
thing,
was there, everything.
the
He looks
funniest
like,
thing with Miami is they have that tight end McCormick. Is his
yeah,
ninth year.
right.
Oh my God, that and I saw the meme. It was like Chris Farley with David Spade and Tommy Boy, and it's like, yeah, most people go to college for 7 years or 8 years, and then David Spade's like, yeah, they're called doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, a couple things that stood out for me is that McMillan kid from Arizona. He put on a clinic at receiver. I think he had over 200 yards receiving. I want to say he had 4 or 5 touchdowns, and he set the Arizona school record for single game receiving yards, and that was pretty cool. But so we're gonna jump into recap of week one. We're gonna give you all the breakdown for the week one games in the Southland Conference, and then we'll kick it over to our interview. It was a great interview with Coach Dolezel, head coach of A&M-commerce. And then on the backside of that, we'll give you a little preview for week two and roll through our stamps of the week. So let's get it going. So we're going to start with Thursday games. So first game, Southeastern at Tulane down New Orleans. Final score there, 52 to nothing. Not a good day in the Selfo household there, Kyle.
Not at all. I believe that was one of your stamp picks as well.
Yeah, yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt.
Yeah,
Um,
it was
yeah,
ugly. There's no
it,
hiding it. It was ugly.
yeah. I mean, they had that fumble, and this has been a common theme, with these, especially these week one games, when their FCS teams are facing FBS opponents. A common theme is just taking care of the football. I
Yep.
mean, if you turn the ball over, you're not going to win football games, and that happened a couple times in the first half, especially in the first quarter. They had a fumble, and then that pick six at the end of the first half. I mean, shit, that was a 100-yard return,
Yeah.
against Eli Sawyer there. So yeah, that was tough, and it just seemed like the offense couldn't get a good rhythm going. It just, I mean, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, you mentioned the fumble there in the first quarter. It just felt like ever since that point, nothing was consistent. They couldn't sustain drives. Just yeah, couldn't stay on the field long enough.
Yeah, I mean, and Eli didn't have like a terrible game throwing. I mean, he was 14-19. Granted, it was only 99 yards, but yeah, that pick six hurt him. I didn't even talk to my dad after the game. He was pissed, and
I believe it.
yeah, and I talked to my brother, and it was funny. I was complimenting him like, hey, I thought you called a good game. You had a couple second and sevens where you just call an easy little draw or inside zone, and you're just setting up for the next play. And he was like, that's all you got for me? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, oh, I thought you were gonna shit on me. And I was like, dude, I'm not, like, I was shitting on the old offensive coordinator. Like, you called plays that actually made sense and didn't want, like, I didn't want to rip my hair out
Right.
after some of those calls. But yeah,
They
and
were.
then
I would say they were able to run the ball. And
yeah,
Tulane's a good team, but they're not good enough that Southeastern should be putting up a goose egg.
yeah,
So
100%.
I get it's got to be
100%.
frustrating for your brother, but I think he'll bounce back.
Yeah, I think so too. Moving on to the next one, we got Northwestern State at Tulsa. Final there was 62-28. Uh, Northwestern State surprised us, man.
Yeah,
I
brand new
mean,
football team.
exactly. Brand new football team. You didn't know how these guys were going to gel. And, Kenneth Lacey with the 72-yard run, or I'm sorry, uh, 75-yard run on the opening drive for a touchdown. That was huge. And then they had that blocked field goal for touchdown return. I mean, that was big time. It really looked like Northwestern was holding their own. I mean, obviously with these FBS schools, they're gonna, that FCS or FBS talent's gonna start to pull away a little bit. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I mean, yeah, it really looked like they were holding their own. They hung tough, but it got away from them. But I mean, not much else you can say about that one.
Yeah. No, I think they need to be happy with what they saw when we're able to take away. They tied with Tulsa, late in the first quarter. Two
Right.
special teams touchdowns. Yeah, it just 4 quarters. Those FBS teams are gonna eventually pull away like they
Yeah,
did. So
they're gonna wake up a little bit.
yeah,
We saw that in a couple other games that we'll get to, but moving on to the next one, we got North American University. I don't even know if that's what they're called, but North American at Stephen F. Austin. That that
yeah,
score was 77-0.
real nail biter.
Yeah. I posted on X. I think I commented on somebody's post and I was like, yeah, SFA by 50. Turns out I was off by 27 points.
Right.
But I mean the big stat line here is Sam Vidlog 8 for 8, 8 passes. Okay,
Yeah.
8 passes for 288 yards and 5 touchdowns. Are you kidding me?
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean it was ridiculous. And then Quaylen Jones had 120 yards or 21 yards rushing with a TD. Jalen Jenkins had 86 yards with 2 TDs, and then Kylan Harris with 4 receptions for 115 yards. 4 receptions for 115 yards. I mean, that's awesome to see. And then obviously the defense played lights out. I mean, against an NAI team like that, I mean, you know,
Not a good measuring stick. We'll know more about SFA next week, but
yeah, for
um,
sure.
I actually saw that they agreed to do 5-minute quarters after the second half, after the first half, because it was that
Are you
bad. I mean,
serious?
yeah, 5-minute
Yeah, I mean,
quarters.
it was 42 to nothing at the end of the first quarter. I mean, yeah, I would have.
70 0 at halftime. Yeah, I want to get out of there too, coach. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Like, hurry up, coach. We just want our food. Like, let's hurry up and get on the bus. Let's get the hell out of here. This is ridiculous. Yeah, that's brutal for North American, but great. I think SFA had kind of something to prove. Like they wanted to come out and beat the shit out of somebody, and
Right.
especially after last year. But yeah, that was didn't catch much of that one just because it
Nope.
was a blowout.
Yeah.
Not much to watch there, but it was funny seeing that final number go up. And then moving on to Saturday games. So that was our Thursday slate. Now we're moving on to Saturday. So we got first game is North Colorado at UIW. The final there is 28-7. UIW coming out with the victory. And I mean, it was a tight game for most of this game.
Let me
Like,
tell you, this game, even though the scoreboard was in UIW's favor, if you look at the stat line, these teams were pretty evenly matched as far as stats go. The big number is 4 turnovers. Northern
yeah,
Colorado gives up the ball 4 times. You can't win a football game like that.
100%.
So, you know, my takeaway from that game is that UIW is not in full form yet.
Yeah, I mean, they still had a couple turnovers too, and I mean, but the redeeming qualities was Calzada. He had some good passes. I mean, there was a couple dimes that he threw for touchdowns. I was like, all right, he still got it. They're still rocking and rolling on offense, and then their defense showed up. Kendrick
Yeah.
Stone had 9 total tackles. He was leading the defense there, and yeah, I mean it was a good game. I watched pretty much most of it, but I mean it's so hard watching all these games going off at the same time.
Yeah, Calzada had some good throws, but he also had some missed throws. So I think I want to see him elevate
Get a
his
little
game next week. Yeah,
bit more accuracy.
right. Defense
Yeah.
played lights out. I mean, if they keep doing that all year, then UIW will be in good shape.
Yeah, I mean defense kept them in the game for most of it, and then offense finally woke up and started getting a rhythm and moving the ball down the field. So
Right.
um, moving on to the next one, we got Houston Christian at SMU. It wasn't good. 59-7 on that one. SMU comes out winning. Money game, this is just it's just one of those deals. You just got to take your lickings and move on, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
Houston HCU actually lost their starting quarterback with 2 minutes left in the first. He got knocked out of the game. So the backup, Cutter Stewart, number
yep.
6, a freshman from Alice, came in. But again, like you said, it's you're
Yeah.
stuck between a rock and a hard place. Tough to come into a game like that and expect to perform at your highest. So
Right. Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, not much we can say about that. I mean, Cutter did have a good throw. Uh, I watched a few highlights, and I was trying to keep up with this game too. He had a good throw down the right side under pressure for a touchdown, and then or I'm sorry, it was just a big gain. It was like they got inside the 10 or something like that, and then his scramble throw for a touchdown, which was very close to
being
going
a
across.
pick.
Well,
Yeah,
no, not that. It was close to him going across the line of scrimmage. It was very
gotcha.
questionable. Him,
Yeah.
that being a penalty, but his foot must have been a millimeter still over that line. So, I mean, yeah, I mean it's tough losing your starting quarterback, but at least you have somebody who can come in, kind of make some plays. But yeah, against SMU, it's tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll have to monitor that situation with the quarterback, see if CJ Rogers, their starter, comes back for week 2 or not.
Yeah, for sure. And then a couple exciting games here down the stretch. So we got Lamar at Texas State. That final was 34-27. Um, damn, Lamar had a chance, dude.
Yeah, they did. You called it
And
last week. You said this is my dark horse for the Southland Conference.
I'm telling you, Lamar. I think they got some guys, and Robert Coleman. He looked pretty good, and he threw for 237 yards, a couple touchdowns, and yeah, they had a chance right there at the end. I mean, it was just the clock management I wasn't really a huge fan of at the end of the game. I mean, they hit that quick slant over the middle at the end of the game um, to hopefully drive down the field. This was after the fact, by the way. The They recovered the onside kick, which
Yeah,
like holy shit, when's the last time that happened? Ever.
right.
Like across NFL and NCAA. Um, yeah, I thought that was crazy. So yeah, just as soon as they hit that slant, I mean, I know they were trying to run another play and then they were struggling trying to get the play in. And then they ran like 7 seconds off the clock and then eventually called timeout. But it's just like, man, just hurry up and call timeout. You got two more. Um, that was my only issue with that side of it. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was. I mean, they fought hard. They battled their ass off, and you know, Texas State's their FBS team now. So
I was going to say, yeah, offense came along a little later in the game, but did enough to hang in there. It was the defense for me. I mean, it sounds crazy to say, but you hold a high octane Texas State offense to 34 points.
high octane.
They're snapping the ball every 15 seconds, man. I
That's
mean,
a good point. And
yeah,
dude, they had. Did you see that kid, Hobart?
yeah,
Holy fuck!
yeah.
This receiver. I mean, that first he had the toe tap, which I think was a little questionable. I think his toe was out of bounds. I'm
Not,
surprised
yeah,
they
yeah,
didn't reverse a call on that. But and then he has that other one where he hurdles the guy to score a touchdown. I was like, okay, this dude's a stud.
yeah. Kid can play. Texas State's going to be a good team. So I think, yeah, Lamar holds their head high with that performance.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And then the funniest thing for me was at the end of the game, GJ Kinney, former UIW head coach, literally was giving an interview with some poor girl,
I
like
saw this. Yeah,
just just trying to get an answer from him. And he does I don't think he made eye contact with her
not
for a
once.
single second.
It was
And
making me
he's just
uncomfortable.
I was just like, "Oh my God, dude, like you just won like a close football game. Like, yeah, you were supposed to win, but still be a little bit happy and like professional with this, with this reporter."
He just kept looking around. I don't know if that
Yeah.
was
He was
if he
just
was. It
if
was
you're watching on video, he's just staring around just doing this, answering a question. I mean, it's just like, "Oh, this is so funny."
yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was hilarious. All right, moving on. We got Southern at McNeese. Man, this was a barn burner for 3 quarters, pretty much. I
Yep.
mean, it was not a good game. McNeese offense, and this was the same with McNeese last week. As far as it's a tale of two halves, right?
Right.
I mean, first half was bad. They brought in that other kid, Camden Six Killer, which
Hell of a name.
I mean, the only way his last name could get any better if it's Six Shooter.
Right.
But yeah, Six Killer, hell of a last name. That was hilarious. And then Clifton McDowell was obviously he was more the running quarterback. I mean, that big son of a bitch just piling into the end zone. He got 2 touchdowns late in the second half, and yeah, I mean it was. And then Micah Davy, holy shit, he is a beast. 17 total tackles. He extended his streak of double digit total tackle games uh, from 14 to 15, I think, or 13 to 14, something like that. And it was just like, oh my God, this dude is a monster. And there's no wonder why he's an All American.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. Oh, and then I forgot Bugsy Silvera.
Dude, top 10
Dude,
incredible pick in the end zone.
number 5 on top plays.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable pick in the end zone. Yeah, that was really cool to see. It was like, all right, yeah, Southland Conference getting some love. I like it. So that was funny. And then yeah, I mean, special teams with a big field goal block there. But yeah, I mean, McNeese has got to figure out how to get going early. We can't wait till the second half and then wake up and expect to win football games.
Yeah. Too many three and outs. I'll be curious to see if Coach Golf sticks with the dual quarterback system or if he's going
Yeah.
to go with one guy for the rest of the season. I understand why he brought Six Killer in. Just wanted to try to spark some offense because you're right. I mean, just
I mean, yeah, if I'm offensive lineman and I got Six Killer I'm blocking for, yeah,
right.
I'm gonna block my ass off.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, that's so funny. And then so that's it. That's all we got for that game. I mean, McNeese coming out with the win. I don't know if I mentioned that, 21-7 on that. And then moving on to Nichols, Kyle.
This is one of my stamps, and I got greedy, man. I should have taken the points. They covered the
Should
point spreads, so
Yeah, they covered. Yeah, Nichols at Louisiana Tech. They fall short to Louisiana Tech 25-17 with I mean another chance to win it there at the end.
right.
I mean this was a good game. Guggenheim, this dude is a beast. And I don't know if you saw, he had all what's it called? The face paint,
Yeah, I
like
black.
eye
Yeah,
eye black, yeah, all over his face. How does that not just run into his eyes and then he's just crying the whole freaking game?
I don't know, man. I was never a fan of the eye black,
I
so
hated the eye black. Couldn't stand it. Um but yeah, I mean, and then Louisiana Tech, they lose their starting quarterback in the first half, and luckily we can talk shit about him because he probably will never listen to our podcast or know who we are. But that Baker kid, he's a redshirt freshman for Louisiana Tech. God, he's awful. He
Yeah.
is so bad. That was one of the worst quarterback plays I've ever seen in my life. Like, oh fuck, it was so bad. So, yeah, we can talk shit about that. Not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, Louisiana Tech, they get a safety on the first drive on Nichols, and then I mean, Rasheed Lovelace getting a fat guy pick six, baby.
Big man Tutty. I love it.
Hell yeah, that was awesome to see. It reminded me of uh oh shit, why am I blanking? Replacements.
Yeah.
Where John Madden's like, man, I love a fat guy touchdown because you get the fat guy spike and then you get a fat guy dance.
Yep.
It was
That's good
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean McQuaid, he didn't have his best game. He was 10 of 26 with 138 yards with a touchdown. And yeah, I mean, the biggest thing with McQuaid, and I mean this in all sincerity, is just continue to work on your mechanics and work on that pocket presence. Because there's a lot of times where he didn't even need to escape the pocket or and then there was a couple times where he would actually run into the pressure. So it's just
Right.
let's work on that, man.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for you.
Defense did a hell of a job.
Oh
Offense,
yeah,
I think we want to see some strides next week, but uh, 5 turnovers. I know a couple of them came on special teams, but it
yeah,
was raining pretty hard there early in the second quarter. It had a lot to do with it, but either way, man, you get that many turnovers, you got to find a way to capitalize on offense.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Defense definitely
Also,
kept him in the game.
yeah, not going for it on 4th and 1 on the 1 yard line, electing to kick the field goal and then missing the field goal.
I
That's got
know,
to sting.
I
You wonder
know,
if that may have had an impact on the outcome. So,
100%. Um, but yeah, I mean, hard fought game. Special teams did a great job as well, keeping them in it, and it's just it's fun to see, teams like Lamar and Nichols stay in games with FBS opponents when they're not even expected to even cover the spread. You know what I
right.
mean?
Yep.
So, um, but yeah, and then moving on to our last game, we got A&M-commerce at San Diego State and Snapdragon Stadium. Um, they lost that one 45-14, but shit, A&M-commerce was up 6-3 at half.
Right.
I mean, it sucks that they San Diego State woke up in the second half and started going off, but I mean, that's got to be some kind of redeeming quality as a head coach if you're Coach Dolezel that hey, I mean, we're up 6-3 at half, like we're battling our asses off. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I agree, and especially after last season going 1-9. To see this to start the year, yeah, you don't get the win, but like you said, you hang with a team like that for half, you're gonna go win some ball games this year.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And then my boy B Tuck, Brandon Tucker, he had 15 total tackles. That was awesome to see that.
yeah.
Getting to know him in media day, it was that was a lot of fun. And then they had a couple different quarterbacks. I think Ron Peace came in at the end when scores started getting out of hand, but Eric Rodriguez started the game out. Um, yeah, like we say, these are money games. Let's get a real measuring stick, as you say. When we start playing some FCS opponents. So
All right.
um, that's it for our week one preview, or I'm sorry, week one recap. We're going to kick it now to our interview with head coach Clint Dolezel of A&M-commerce. Speaking of, and yeah, it was a great conversation getting to know him, and hope y'all enjoy it. We'll see you on the other side. We'd like to welcome on our second guest of the Other D1 podcast. We have Coach Clint Dolezel, the head coach at A&M-commerce. He's entering his second season. And how we doing, Coach?
Good, man. It's good to see you again, buddy.
Yeah.
Just ready, like we were just talking about off the air there a little bit, just ready to go see another opponent. We've seen each other's all spring, we've seen each other all summer, and then obviously now in fall camp that it's over and just ready to go.
Hell yeah. Well, let's start here. So, and this is a hypothetical question, okay? So, what would you say or think, and remember, this is all hypothetical, about one team possibly stealing the acts of another team at media day?
I think it was just an accident. Somehow they thought our bag was their bag and they slipped it in there and we ended up with it. It's just an unfortunate thing that happened between rivals. They can get it when they come back here. I talked to Coach Carthel and, of course, we had good fun with it. We let him know, we'll send it in the mail if you need us to. He says, no, we'll come take it when we need to down there when we come play at y'all's place. I said, okay, sounds good.
So, yeah, there you go.
Like it.
Well, we wanted to dive into, we don't like to ask typical bullshit questions, how you feeling about this upcoming season. We like to dive into coach's career and get into more of who you are as a person, your coaching style. But, looking at your college career, you were one of three athletes ever to play three sports at East Texas State, which is obviously A&M-commerce where you coach now. And
Well done.
I mean, what did you do in your spare time? Just sleep? That was it?
Hunt and fish. That was my spare time when I wasn't doing
How?
sports. Yeah, it was awesome. No, I mean, school only in session, for about 6, 7 months out of the year. So the rest of the time I was busy doing something else. That was actually, more fun than I grew up my whole life playing sports. So my side job was hunting and fishing. That's how we
There you
put
go.
food on the table.
There you go.
You still get out of the golf course at all? You a scratch golfer?
Not as much as I used to. I got it down pretty low again this past summer a little bit before we
Where
got
where
back
we
in.
at? Where we at?
We're here in Commerce. Yeah, we got our.
No, I'm saying on the golf. What we
Oh,
at?
I'm a two. I'm a two right now, and
Oh my God.
probably on our course, I'm a little bit lower than that. It's pretty easy course. It's if I shoot over par out there, I'm not very happy. When I walk off the course from there,
Oh
Yeah,
my God. Must be
more.
nice.
Yeah, more than I can say.
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Yeah,
pretty easy course.
Me and Kyle are about a 15. Actually, Kyle's probably like more of a 20, but
At least, yeah, max handicap, whatever you got.
well,
That's
coach.
I've played about every sport there is. It's the most frustrating sport there is. You can think you got it figured out the next day. It'll humble you in so many ways.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Frustrating.
100%. Well, I mean, looking at your AFL career, I mean, that was just really cool to see. And I talked with it a little bit with you at media day, but what was it like playing in the AFL? I mean, obviously you were the first quarterback in history to throw for 900 career touchdowns, and then obviously you're a Hall of Fame inductee. So just what was that like?
Backyard football with your buddies. That's what it was like. It was just fun. What's not to like in arena football? If you only throw 7 touchdowns a game, you had a bad game a lot of times. So that's pretty good.
Jesus.
It was a blast. I wouldn't have take that back for anything. I had a cup of coffee in the NFL there, here and there, but if I had to do again, I would just stay the same. It was just so much fun. Made so many lifelong friends through that. Just talked about meeting Ari, who's doing our game in San Diego State this weekend. Just so many relationships I've made over the years with that. It was a blast. Loved it. Coaching it too, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were looking at your coaching career, AFL, semi-pro, all over the place. One that stuck out in particular was the Beijing gig in China. How was that? You gonna talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, you hear about China, and you always worry about you go over there. You just the unknown. Man, we had a good time over there. We took we the first year over there went over there in 2012. We played like an exhibition game over there. Basically, it was an all-star game. We went to Hawaii and then flew over to there and played the all-star game. And One of our owners in Philly, Marty Judge, he has a lot of ties in China. So he said, man, I want this thing to happen. I think we could play a, kind of arena league, get going in China. I was like, man, let's make it happen. And yeah, we had a draft. We ended up taking 7 teams over there, and we went 6-0, and it was so much fun. We went to 6 different cities. It was one of the crazy stories is we were going to our third city, and it was dial in or something like that. He goes, one of the guys in the back of the bus, he goes, yeah, we're going dial in. I go, well, why are you saying it like that? He goes, well, it's really small. It only's got like 12 million. I was like, I was like, that's pretty big, by the way. But it's amazing. It's just all country. It's all their people are in just so many small areas. And as we traveled, on train or bus or flying, it was just straight country. And obviously the Great Wall of China, hear about a lot of the wonders of the world. That how they made that in that place is unbelievable. And how tall it is, how big it is. It was a
Yeah.
unique experience.
What how many athletes did y'all have that were American versus Chinese?
So the rules were you had to have at one time on the field, half and half. So arena football is eight man. So you had to have 4 out there. Of course, you're strategic on which ones you have out there. Uh,
Right.
because they don't play football in China, and
Yeah.
it was a fun 2 weeks of getting them to teach them. The hardest part was just the language barrier. I think I won all my games because I basically drafted my teams based that they had any ties in America at any time, because the language barrier, it's not going to Mexico where you fumble your way through, speak
Right.
Spanish. No, there is no fumbling through Mandarin. It's a tough language to learn. And again, to credit to them and the Chinese players, shoot, by the end, they could speak, in sentences, American English, and we 2 words we learned while we were there, boo
Yeah.
how, and a few other choice words. It's just like growing up, you learn cuss words more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a blast. Yeah, that was one of the best experience I've had in my life.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, going through like your coaching career and your playing career, I wanted to know, and I asked my dad this last week, but who's the best athlete that you think you ever played with or coached with, or you can separate those answers.
Ooh, played with, coached with. Ooh, that's a tough
I
one.
know, I know it's a loaded question, but I like hearing different stories. I mean, my dad brought up some guy from high school, like he coached at some Texas high school. I was like, I've never heard of this guy before in my life, but
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of his name right now. His last name was White. So we played um, one of the years of the Desperados. We had a really, really good. All 3 years we had good football teams, and we played the Orlando Predators at their place, and they had a defensive end. I cannot think of what White's first name was. Anyway, he didn't. I watched him on film and kind of prepared for him playing. And I called my own plays, ran my own offense when I was playing arena football the last 9 years. And so he didn't play in that game. We threw 11. I threw 11 touchdowns. Could have broke the record
Jesus.
for 12. And so we play them around in the first round. We had a bye week, and so they won their first round, and they came to us, and he was playing in this game. And again, I was watching him, like, man, he's pretty good, but we got out there, and of course, it was still 2-way players. It was still when they had to play 2 ways.
Oh yeah.
That was 6. That was, to me, we probably had the best team to ever play the 2-way era game where you had offensive linemen, defensive linemen, DBs, receivers playing both sides of the ball. Well, White, well, and how you did it was basically you brought in defensive players and taught them how to pass block. So, it was more of that part, which I could get by with. I knew when I had my good pass blockers in versus my ones that weren't as good. So I filled
Yeah.
up with screens and 3-step. And well, anyway, long story short, so we go out there and he's playing, and I was like, okay. So I drop back and I get smashed in the back of my head like really fast, and I got rid of the ball quick. I didn't hold the ball. I survived as long as I did because I had a pretty quick release, and everything was timed up that way. Well, we usually drive down score almost every time. You have to if you're going to win in marine football. Man, he's pounding me back there, and we come off the sidelines, and I don't think we scored on the first drive, and I'm like, what the crap? And I go over to my tight end. He's in the boundary block with my tight end, who was a defensive lineman, but he was really he learned to be a really good offensive guy. He said, I can't block him. I was like, what? You can't block him? That's not an answer I would need to hear from you. You can't
Yeah,
block him.
exactly.
He couldn't, by the way. He had a heck of a game. We ended up losing in a nail biter at the end, but he ended up going to the Tampa Bay Bucks and having 5 sacks the next year. So that's how good he was. He wasn't just that we couldn't block him, as he was pretty much unblockable in our game. And yeah, he ended up having a really good career in the NFL after that. And yeah, I would say him probably overall playing against. I played against some scary guys and played with some really good guys too. And Marcus Nash was a good one. I played with him. He was Peyton Manning's quarterback or receiver in college.
Yeah.
Got 2 Super Bowl rings in the NFL. Came to me. We hit it off, best friends. Played golf, but he was a really good athlete. Big, rare guy that with his size, probably 6'3", 225, somewhere in there. Had speed and power. Just one of those freak athletes.
Something we wish we had.
Yeah,
Woo!
exactly.
The good
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. What's it mean to be coaching for your former alma mater? You come back home. What's that mean to you?
More this year that I'm actually getting to enjoy it. Last year was not very enjoyable. It was rough. Being 30 years in arena football and coming back and getting my mind, and I had worked a little bit with it, getting back into 11-man game. Dan Campbell's my cousin with the Detroit Lions, and got to go and be with him in a lot of his camps over the last couple of years. When he was with the Saints, went with him a little bit. So I got my mind back in it. Man, I just wasn't prepared for the school side of it. There's just so much that ties me up, and not just football. Where in pro ball it's just football. That's all we do.
That's it.
And now probably more than half my time is spent with doing other things other than actually just coaching football. This year got a lot more better grasp of it. Got a lot of help delegating with my other coaches. Got some new coaches in that are helping a ton. So yeah, feel a lot better in my own skin this year.
Yeah, I mean, and talking about hanging out with Dan Campbell and stuff, which is so cool. Um, was that part of like your decision to go back to college?
I was kind of wanting to get out of arena football.
Yeah.
It's just a volatile league where it's up and down, whether we're playing or we're not. We're always worried about something. I love the game. It's awesome to coach and played it, but it just sometimes wasn't stable. And getting up there in age, I needed to find something a little more stable. The job opened where I could have a chance to come here and and I kind of started getting the itch and talking to him. Maybe I could, get in there with him. And, he was worried that I wasn't maybe dedicated enough, which he was, probably right. I love my free time. I love hunting. I love fishing. I love golfing. And he probably at the time, a couple of years ago, he was probably right. I probably wasn't ready just to go full time and do that for 11 and a half months straight with no break in there. And, this coming here, it's rejuvenated me. It has. I mean, I knew the reading football like the back of my hand. I didn't have to work very hard at that. It was just natural to me. It was easy. Where now I've got to put some work in, and these kids, they keep you poor. They keep you young. If you don't have some energy around them, you won't last. They'll leave you in the dust. So it's been fun.
Speaking of hunting fishing, what favorite thing to hunt or fish?
Well, we got
Or
dove
either one?
season rolling up. I'm seasonal. Whatever season it is, that's what I'm doing. And when
There
growing
you
up,
go.
it was doves first always, because you got to get your hunting license, and we'll go ahead and get a combination while you're at it. It means fishing license too here in Texas. Pay that fee. You got dove, and you got bow season that's next. Then you got rifle season and deer. Ducks is right in there with it when it's
Hmm.
that time of the season. And then I try to get as much hunting, made a lot of friends over the years on some ranches, and go out there and have a good time, hunt quail when it's that time of year too. So whatever it is, that's what I'm doing that season.
Drink some Coors lattes.
Well, not going to say it doesn't.
Yeah.
Just a couple.
Yeah. Kyle.
Um, moving back to A&M-commerce, took the job last year. Obviously, didn't see the success y'all wanted right away. Um, you know, talked about your accolades as a quarterback. Are you more hands-on when it comes to practices and the film room with your quarterbacks, or you've delegated that and you let them do what they do?
I mean, I have a longtime friend that I actually played here with that's helping me out, volunteer with me. He's in there with the quarterbacks a lot, but yeah, they're in my room every day. We watch film together. We've got two quarterbacks that we're leaning on to get us through the year, with some guys behind them that I feel comfortable with too. But yeah, that's my baby. Now that I'm calling the plays, it's interesting just to see the amount of time you're having to put in it, where I could just in the arena game just pull one out of my hat and we could go make it happen, because every one of my plays were good against man or zone. So now, the interest of game planning. I hate the first game of the season. I don't have any film on San Diego State. It's a whole new coaching staff. We're having to break pieces down from where they were and all this stuff. I hate it. I can't wait to next week where we have,
Yeah.
film on UC Davis. Brand new head coach too, so won't have a lot on him. Next game's a brand new head coach. Next game's a brand new head coach. So, that having film's everything. And I ask my players, just get me through this one. Get us through this game with a win here, and then we'll have some film, and we'll doctor them up here after that.
Yeah. And I mean, we're recording before you head out tomorrow to San Diego State at Snapdragon Stadium.
There it is.
I heard that too. I was like, Snapdragon, what is that? And then I heard what it meant. So that's
Wait, what does it mean? Because we don't know.
We can't Google it.
So
Yeah.
Snapdragon, I guess, is it's oh shoot. Now that you made me remember, see, I had a lot of hits in the head. A lot of hits to the head. Oh, I'll remember before we're done with this.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, before you head out tomorrow, I mean, how are we feeling about playing, this obviously this interview is going to drop next week, but
Right.
how are we feeling about playing out in gorgeous weather? I mean, and then obviously you go
That'd be
there 2
nice.
weeks in a row.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been 100 here for a while.
Yeah.
Degrees, and we're going to see 75 as the high, which is nice. My guys will be like kids in a candy store out there.
No kidding.
So
Right.
yeah, that first game, and we're in good shape. We are. My kids are in good shape. Just from practicing in the heat, it gets you in good shape. But
Hmm.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, that first game, the adrenaline gets going. They will be just dog tired. It doesn't matter. It can be 55 degrees, and you're still going to just wear out just from the pure excitement and the adrenaline going in the game. So getting through this game healthy was the biggest goal for us. Obviously, we're a paid game for San Diego State, paying for us to come in and play them. We kind of compare them to Old Dominion, same thing that, we went to there. They're obviously, we feel like a little more talented than Old Dominion was. And, but we feel like we can hang in there.
Yeah.
They're obviously very talented. They'll be probably a little bigger, stronger than us, but that'll probably be most opponents we play. We play fast, on both sides of the ball. We're not your biggest up front, but we move well. We're pretty athletic on both lines. The biggest thing is coming out of this thing healthy, and that'll probably be the recurring theme every week is, survive these non-conference games with health. Scratch out some wins in there too. Be competitive, but once we start conference, we just want to be healthy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
was there any decision like possibly staying the night, for the next week after San Diego
We
State?
did. We talked about it. At the end of the day, it probably is not much difference in price, and just flying back, staying for the whole week. And the final decision for me was like, I might only have like 8 kids playing it with a week in California. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I said, like, you know what? That's not a good idea. I'm not going to leave my kids at night a week in California. How much
Yeah.
they can get into? Not that they're bad kids, but at that age, it happens.
Hey, it
Yeah.
happens.
It happens.
It happens. Yeah. I mean,
So that's
we
probably
stayed.
the smart choice of coming back home.
Yeah, I remember Kyle and I when we played in Incarnate Word, we stayed the night over at was it up in Dallas Cowboy Stadium? We played
Yeah,
up there. We stayed the night over in Dallas, and yeah, we had some issues.
there's some trouble to be had there.
Yeah,
Conversations the next day.
Right.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we got just a couple more questions for you. We keep it short and sweet. And Kyle, I think you wanted to ask. Kyle's big into the NIL and transfer portal, so
I just like to see how every coach is approaching it. I know it's been in place for a couple of years now, but it seems like it's forever evolving, and like to get coaches' thoughts on how they think of it. Is it good or bad? And then also, yeah, how you're attacking that. Are you using the portal, or are you still focusing most of your efforts on high school recruiting?
Yeah, so I mean, we don't have, I would say $0 in NIL, so that's obviously not something that's part of our game plan right now. Down the road, maybe we're hoping going down that and hitting our alumni, finding a big sponsor, things like that. But it's just not in our cards right now, and you know what, we can still get by without it. We're an hour from Dallas. There's so much talent walking around in Texas. We get a lot of walk-ons that are, I mean, our walk-on group even alone this year is better than a lot of scholarship kids we had last year on our team. So we're a lot deeper just from that aspect. Our special teams will be a lot better from that aspect. And as far as the portal, I don't know. We got some players in the portal last year, and we missed on a few of them, and which is always a scary part. It's not like your high school kid where you're doing your 6 month work on. Portal is a guy that's and when I say portal, I'm not talking about junior college. I'll get into that in a second. But there's a reason they want to leave a lot of times, whether they're not good enough to play wherever they're at FBS school, whether they're not a good quality person that's going to not do things right on and off the field. You don't get to do that study on them. You get to see a little bit of film of them on practice, possibly because they're not playing probably where they're at. And then you bring them in and they can snow you for the weekend and tell you what a great kid they are and act right in front of you. And then you get them here and that's not right. So for me, I go the junior college route. That's where I'm going to hit, my guys. I was a junior college guy. I
yep,
played at Cisco Junior College before I came here. So I'm a believer in that. Coach Val, my head coach, when I was here, brought in 15 of us, and we were instant contenders to have a chance to go win a national championship in D2. So I believe in that model because those guys have been playing. They've been through the war, a whole season or two in junior college. And I want those guys. I want the guys that have been playing and working and still have the want to and the not I'm mad at the whole world because I'm not getting playing time somewhere else. I want those guys
right,
still have that chip on their shoulder. Junior
right.
college kids have that. They feel like they were maybe overlooked a little bit and they had to go to JUCO. High school, that's next for us. Yes, we still hit the high school, but man, it's hard to, if you're trying to win right now, it's hard to go get high school kids at the FCS level. If they're that good, they're going to Alabama, they're going to Florida, they're going to Florida State. We're not getting those kids, and we're getting the tweeners that we're having to develop, which is still good. We still want to do that. But for me, it's you got to win right now, and it's hard to do it with high school kids. Not that you can't, but there's a difference between an 18-year-old kid and a 23-year-old kid that's a freshman and or a senior in college, and that just experience and that 4 or 5 years of experience in that and just mentality that they turn into. I'm going to go get those guys and be competitive, try to be competitive every year.
Yeah, I mean, going after some of these JUCO or transfer guys, I mean, you already see they're battle tested, right?
Yep.
They got college experience, they got college playing time, so I mean that makes total sense to me. And you know, like you said with the high school kids, that they're the top grade high school kids, they're going to the bigger
We're not
schools.
getting them. Yep.
Yeah.
You still
So
you still do your due diligence on them because you woo them, you talk to them, and even though you might not get them because they may get there and be not happy, so you try to take care of them when you bring them in on recruiting visits because they get there for a semester, a year, And it's like, man, this is not what I was thinking. And heck, I can go play it at Commerce, right now. So
Right.
I want to do that. I want to go back home. I want to go back to Texas and play in front of my, my home fans, which again, we're right down the road from Dallas, and there's a lot of a lot of players walking the street around here. Heck,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have an open tryout Monday we get back here, and we'll probably find 4 or 5 players that just here going to school. There's just so many high school kids getting overlooked because there's not enough scholarships to go around for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's a wild time we're living in for sure. But Coach, thank you so much for your time.
You bet, anytime.
Really appreciate it. Good luck this weekend against San Diego State, and then obviously next week against UC Davis. Maybe I'll shoot you a text or something.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Tell your dad hello.
I will.
All right, buddy.
All
Nice to
right.
meet you, Coach. Take care.
All right, Kyle.
All right, welcome back. We had I hope y'all enjoyed that interview with Coach Dolezel. It was he's just a good old country boy.
Yeah.
Just loves his hunting and fishing. And then the fact that he's like still 2 handicap on a golf course.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. But we're gonna move into our preview of week 2. So first game we got, it's a money game. It's gonna be tough. McNeese at Texas A&M up in Kyle Field. That's a noon kickoff there, and I feel bad for McNeese. I'm just gonna say it. A&M is pissed.
Yeah.
A&M is pissed. They got beat up pretty good against Notre Dame, and that quarterback for A&M did not play well.
Wegman didn't play well at all.
No. And, McNeese is still working through a couple things. They implemented the 2 quarterback system this past week. So I think McNeese is going to have to figure it out quick. But, this is a money game. Just like we talked about before, just take your lickings and move on. But still got to work on some stuff. Still got to make sure you have a good showing.
Yeah, you got to be able to stay out there, sustain some consistent drives, or else this is going to be a long, long afternoon for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and then Kyle, you played there, right? Is that's why you love A&M so much?
All my family went there, so I'm a A&M fan by affiliation.
I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, let me have my Aggie Saturdays. Huh? We'll see.
Yeah.
So next game up on Saturday. This is our game of the week. UIW headed up to Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. Somebody's going to have to help me out there. Yeah, Dykhouse.
Dykhouse.
Your guess is as good as mine. But UIW headed up to Brookings, South Dakota. Yeah, this one's going to be fun. We know what South Dakota State brings.
Right.
Former FCS champions. UIW's got their work cut out for them. I mean, offense is going to have to elevate their play.
Mm-hmm.
Defense is just going to have to play lights out. It's going to be 4 quarters of a dogfight.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I mean, South Dakota State coming off of a 44-20 loss to Oklahoma State. I mean, obviously that's another money game for South Dakota, but yeah, I mean, they're going to be wanting to prove something, especially with a good opponent like Incarnate Word. I mean, and then you got Mark Gronowski, if I pronounce that correctly. Probably messed that up. Gronowski. There you go. He was the Walter Payton Award winner last year, which for those of you who don't know about, the award system in FCS, that's essentially the Heisman for FCS.
Right.
So he's a stud. So yeah, the UIW's got their work cut out, especially, that's a long travel for them. It's not easy. So
hostile environment.
Yeah.
To me, this will be a true test to see if UIW's a playoff / championship contender this year.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the next game, we got Southeastern at Southern Miss. They're playing over there in Hattiesburg. Southern Miss coming off of a 31 to nothing loss to Kentucky, but I mean, Southeastern coming off of 52 to nothing loss to Tulane. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, I mean, this is going to be two teams that are going to be desperate to get in the end zone. And I mean, yeah, it's a tough back to back for Southeastern. These are two money games for them, but yeah, I think I think this will be a better measuring stick for Southeastern. Southern Miss, I don't think they're as good as a team as Tulane. I really don't. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you just got to find a way to get in the end zone, like you said. It's um, be an uphill battle, but I mean, just get something going, build some momentum for week 3. That's the goal with this game here. Um,
Yep.
I will be curious to see the quarterback situation. Are we going to still see Eli Sawyer with the keys to the car, or are they going to maybe give Tanner, the backup QB, a couple chances?
I mean, I think, and this is, I haven't even talked to him about it yet, but I think it's going to be Eli. Maybe if he, runs into a couple situations, maybe they're turning the ball over, can't complete some passes, they'll throw Tanner in there. But and then especially if the score gets out of hand, then they'll,
Yeah,
they'll end up putting Tanner in there. But yeah, I would think that Eli is going to get the nod for the
still
start.
Eli's job is your guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, we got Prairie View A&M going to Northwestern State at Turpin Stadium. 6 p.m. kickoff there.
Where, how do you pronounce that in
I
Louisiana?
believe it's Natchitoches.
There you go. There you
All
go.
right.
Natchitoches. Yep, yep.
Don't want to make my
Not
Louisiana friends mad.
it's not Natchitoches. No, it's Natchitoches.
I was pretty confident, but there we. Anyways, 6 p.m. kickoff there. Northwestern State coming off of a loss at Tulsa, they showed some promise. I mean, like we've been talking
Yeah,
about, brand new team. I expect them to pick up their first win against Prairie View A&M.
I think so too. I mean, yeah, Prairie View A&M's coming off a loss. They lost 29-7 to Texas Southern last week, which is another FCS team. But yeah, I mean, I don't. I think Northwestern, especially going to being at home, I think they're gonna try and show out and be like, hey, we're the new improved Northwestern State. Um, yeah, it'll be fun what Coach McCorkle dials up. So
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
yeah. Moving on to the next game, we got Mississippi Valley State at Lamar, down there in Beaumont. I don't understand. Is there a way that Mississippi Valley State could have made their name any longer by being the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils? Is there a way you can make that longer?
That's probably as long as it gets.
But anyways, they're coming off a loss, 41-21 to Tennessee State. I think I think Lamar is going to blow them out. I really do. Yeah, Tennessee State's a good program, but Lamar really they showed their true colors last week with how well they played against Texas State, and they battled through adversity and they fought till the very end. So um, yeah, we don't have lines for any of these games, by the way. We'll probably tweet those picks out later on this week. We'll tweet our stamp picks. We don't want to just give y'all like minus 570 money line picks. So we want to make sure that y'all we're getting the best bang for the buck, right?
Absolutely. So next game up, we got Tarleton State headed to Houston Christian University. 6 p.m. kickoff at Husky Stadium in Houston. I'm pretty excited about this one. Obviously, we saw Tarleton State play McNeese in week 0, so we have an idea of what Tarleton brings to the table.
Right.
It'll be a great test for HCU. Obviously, they didn't get to see where they really measure up in terms of being competitive this year at the FCS level with
Yeah, I
that
mean,
loss to SMU. That was just
yeah. it wasn't a good litmus test. I mean, you can't really gauge how well a team's going to do it throughout the year when, you're playing, which, by the way, I didn't even know SMU was in the ACC, so that tells you how much I know about FBS right now with all this stupid conference realignment.
Right.
But I mean, Tarleton's coming off of a loss, a big loss, 45-3 to Baylor. And so, yeah, I mean, we'll see, what happens. But yeah, I mean, we got a glimpse of them week one against McNeese, and yeah, I mean, I think this is gonna be an exciting game. This will be a true test for both teams. We're hearing Tarleton State's gonna be coming into the Southland Conference, so that'll be good to see that. But it'll be a true test for both teams to see, how they do against good FCS competition.
No, I agree. And obviously, we'll need to be monitoring the quarterback situation for HCU. Do they get their starter number 12 CJ Rogers back, or will it be the backup Cutter Stewart?
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the next one, we got Nickel State, LSU down there in Death Valley.
Yikes!
Yeah. They're as we're recording, LSU's up 17-13 in the fourth quarter with 9 minutes 25 seconds left in the fourth in that game. So, yeah, LSU looks pretty good.
Go get that check, Nickel State. Go get the check.
Go get the check. Come away with no injuries.
Yep.
But I mean, shit, Nichols could hold their own. I mean, my dad's played on plenty of, or coached on plenty of bad teams at Louisiana Tech and Tulane where they're, winning at half against LSU. So, yeah, no, this will be. I'll be watching it, but yeah, you always know that games like this, the second half, LSU's gonna wake up even if they're down. But we'll see how it goes. Just gotta elevate that quarterback play on Nichols.
Yeah, I agree. The offense, even though it's going to be tough sledding, you'd like to see some growth in the offense. The defense looked great this
Yeah,
past week, so I've got no
yeah,
concerns about Nichols' defense.
yeah. Keep it up defensively and special teams. Just gotta elevate that offensive play.
Yep. Moving on, we got Stephen F. Austin headed to North Texas at Dat CU Stadium.
DATCU Stadium.
I'm
I
sure it
don't know.
stands for some company, but anyways, headed up to Denton,
God
Texas.
forbid. God forbid we look it up like Snapdragon.
No, yeah, never. It's going to remain a
No.
mystery.
Oh hell yeah. No, there's no way I'm looking up Snapdragon.
So, North Texas coming off a win against South Alabama. They beat them 52-38. So,
Yeah.
we'll finally get to see what Stephen F. Austin's made of.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of a game where it was literally a walkover game. I mean, 77-0 at half, and they're wanting to play 5-minute quarters. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, we'll see what they're made of. Especially, North Texas seems like South Alabama's a good program. They've had decent years. They've been kind of middle of the road, not really like fantastic, but I mean they're solid. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
seeing them play a team like North Texas, it'll be fun to watch and see what happens there. But and then wrapping up for our last game, we got A&M-commerce heading out to California to UC Davis. So this is back-to-back weeks for Coach Dolezel. Going out to California, and how's that going to affect him? With that amount of travel, time change, all that. I mean, shit, they don't kick off till 9 p.m. Central's time.
Right.
So we're going to be in the third, fourth quarter. It's going to be midnight here, and we'll see if those guys are going to be able to stay awake. You know what I mean? But I think it's going to be a good test, another FCS opponent. And, we talked to Coach Dolezel, as you heard in the interview, about, them possibly staying out there for the week before to just get their bodies adjusted. But, with these FCS teams and budgets, it's tough with cost. And, yeah, I mean, nothing good can really happen.
Right. Yeah, you heard him say.
From players just staying in hotels in a different city for a week.
Yeah.
But I mean, UC Davis, they lost to Cal this past week, 31-13. So, you know, that's a big time program, supposedly, allegedly.
Yep. Yeah,
And
UC Davis is no joke. So this will really tell us what kind of A&M-commerce team we have this season. Um, big question mark for me is: is Coach Dolezel gonna continue to rotate two quarterbacks, Eric Rodriguez and Ron
Ron
Peace,
Peace, yeah.
or did
Well, I
one
mean, I think
win the
I think
job?
Eric, I think Eric's gonna start. I think Ron Peace is more of like, game was getting kind of out of hand, so they brought in the backup, just like with Southeastern.
Right.
But but yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, but yeah, I think it'll be a good test. It'll be a good test for sure. It'll be fun to watch. Well, that wraps up for our week 2 preview. Um, Huge shout out to our producer Mike, Big Mike,
Big Mike.
Big Mike. And yeah, we couldn't do this without him. Colin and I are pretty illiterate when it comes to technology, so really appreciate him, and he's burning the candle at both ends just to help us out with getting these podcasts out or these episodes out. So
Yep.
please be sure to continue to listen and watch the video for us, and we just really appreciate everybody, and good luck with everybody's gambling picks, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Cheers.